Lagoon in Farmington, Utah is a beautiful park located about 15 to 20 minutes from Salt Lake City. The lagoon is often overlooked in the coaster community, mainly due to its location and size. It's definitely a park you should not miss out on. From its solid coaster lineup, luscious green foliage, and the friendly staff, Lagoon will truly surprise you with its charm. In this video, I will share with you my tips and tricks for Lagoon and how you can have the best day at this amazing park. The main airport for Lagoon will be Salt Lake City International Airport. From the airport, it will take you about 20 to 30 minutes to drive to Lagoon. So here's my tip number 1. Book an Airbnb in Bountiful, Utah. I understand that there's some people who are iffy about using Airbnb due to some shady incidents in the past. However, this will be your cheapest option since hotels near Lagoon or Salt Lake City will cost you a bit more. In addition, Bountiful is a safe and quiet neighborhood that is conveniently located about 10 minutes away from Lagoon. So in my last trip to Lagoon, we spent about $85 per ticket. But I did hear that Costco stores near Salt Lake City sells Lagoon tickets for $10 cheaper. So if you're a Costco member, it might be worth it to explore that option. And like other parks, Lagoon offers a military discounts for service members and their families. Parking will cost you about $18 to $20 for regular parking and $28 for preferred parking. Lagoon used to be very affordable in the past with an average cost of a ticket at about $50. Since then, Lagoon raised the price significantly, which might be impacting the number of people visiting out of state. Lagoon operates from March to October, with every day on the summer months and only the weekends on spring and fall months. In the summer, the ticket to Lagoon also gets you into their water park, Laguna Beach. In the fall months, guests can experience Frightmares, which is their Halloween event. You're gonna have a fantastic time at Lagoon no matter what time of the year you go. But if you're looking to beat the heavy crowds, your best bet will be weekdays during summer and Fridays and Sundays during the off months. And lastly, since there are a lot of families that visit Lagoon, getting to the park nice and early about 30 minutes before opening will get you on most of the rides before the park gets too busy. The moment you step inside the park entrance, you immediately feel the intimacy and the charming aspects of the park. You'll see shops, decorations, and beautiful flowers in the main pathway. Basically, the entire park is a large rectangle with the shooting water fountains being the centerpiece. After you get to the fountains, you'll find yourself wondering if you should go left or right, but more on that later. Which brings me to tip number 2, what to bring to the park. Unlike the bigger park chains, Lagoon allow their guests to bring their own food and drinks to the park, excluding alcohol. It's very typical to see larger families bring a cooler or a wagon full of snacks and drinks, which is a huge plus. Lagoon also provides free lockers for most of their rides, and though it's not perfect, it is convenient. So I suggest you bring a small bag or a backpack filled with some snacks for the entire day. Now let's get to the fun part. Lagoon has a total of 10 roller coasters, including their one kiddie coaster, Puff the Little Fire Dragon. But for most people, you'll only be able to get on 9 of the coasters. So tip number 3, don't ride Cannibal first. As tempting as it might be, don't ride Cannibal first. Instead, head towards their 2 family coasters, the Bat and Bambora. For one, these 2 rides can get extremely long queues due to their operations and the number of families going on them. And 2, they're both very mild rides with the figure 8 layout and not really worth spending more than 5 minutes. Tip number 4, ride the coasters in this order: Bambora, the Bat, Jetstar, Cannibal, Skyride to the other side of the park, Wild Mouse, Spider, Wicked, Colossus, and end with Roller Coaster. Depending on how busy the day is, you'll be able to finish all the coasters by 1 or 2 p.m. Then for the rest of the day, you can do re-rides and enjoy the other flat rides. Some of the notable flat rides that I got to experience were the Skyride, the Blast-Off side of Rocket, and the Ferris wheel. So here's a quick review of the most popular coasters, starting with Cannibal. Cannibal is a coaster built in-house by Lagoon, and at one point it had the steepest drop in the United States. It has a very unique inversion called the Lagoon roll that gives a great sense of hang time. Overall, a fantastic ride from start to finish and a solid number 1 for the park. Wicked is my personal second favorite coaster in the park. It starts out with a bang with an upwards launch to the top hat into a 90-degree drop. Then after a quick banking turnaround into a 0G roll. Colossus the Fire Dragon feels like a classic Schwarzkopf with 2 large vertical loops along with tight helices. I like it particularly for its speed and intensity. After the top 3, the lineup drops off pretty significantly, but you can still have fun riding the other rides. Wild Mouse was more speedy than any other Wild Mouse coasters I experienced. Spider was very smooth, but disappointing because it didn't spin us too much. Jetstar felt unique from the spiral lift hill to the janky transitions. Roller Coaster was pretty mid, but after all, it's a 100-year-old coaster. The 2 family coasters, the Bat and Bambora, were just one and dones. Now that you got your rides in, it's time to eat. Which brings me to tip number 5, where to eat. When it comes to food, Lagoon has a lot of varieties from your typical fast food items all the way to your home cooked style meals. I personally recommend Beer Garden or the Old Mill Barbecue. At Beer Garden, you'll be greeted with extravagant buildings and tasteful sceneries that really makes you feel like you're in Germany. In terms of their food options, they have their typical burgers and sandwiches, but also unique items such as their chicken schnitzel and the Bavarian pretzels. And of course, they serve refreshing beers as well. For the last section of the video, let's look at all the pros and cons at Lagoon. Starting with the pros. Pro number 1, Lagoon is very charming and well kept. From the trees that look perfectly and naturally grown in, to the different types of buildings and walkways around the park, Lagoon allow their guests to feel at ease and enjoy the park at their own pace. Pro number 2, the good operations and management. For their top popular rides like Cannibal and Wicked, multiple trains were in operations and the dispatches were surprisingly quick. And since Lagoon currently does not offer any kind of fast pass system, the queue lines are fairly manageable even on a busy day. And on top of that, I was really impressed by the park's decision to station a worker at the ride's entrance to monitor for line cutting and personal items. Pro number 3, Lagoon's underappreciated ride collection. Lagoon has a total of 10 roller coasters and many different flat rides and attractions, and despite the steep drop-off of ride quality after Cannibal, Wicked, and Colossus, guests should not overlook the other rides at Lagoon. Some low-key attractions such as Jetstar 2, Blast Off, and Spider are pure fun and they deserve some love too. Pro number 4, affordable foods and drinks. It is not uncommon for parks guests to complain about the quality, variety, and the prices of theme park cuisine. From what I experienced at Lagoon, I have nothing but good things to say about their food options. Both my meals were very delicious and very affordable. As I mentioned above, Beer Garden is a fantastic option for food, and for those looking for the traditional burgers and sandwiches, you can also find them at the park at an affordable price. Now let's talk about the cons, starting with number 1, the price. Currently, Lagoon charges about $85 plus tax for single day tickets. Now you might be wondering, $85 for an amusement park ticket in this economy seems normal. However, what most people are upset about is the significant price jump in the last couple years. Just not too long ago, guests could visit Lagoon for less than $50, so that 40% price increase seems a little bit unfair. Con number 2, the location. Farmington, Utah is a small town north of Salt Lake City, and it's not the easiest place to get to if you're a coaster enthusiast. Not only is it the only major theme park in the state of Utah, but the next closest theme park will be Glenwood Caverns, which is about 4 to 5 hours away, meaning you really have to make an effort to get to Lagoon, especially if you're from the East Coast states. And the last con is the park's map and the lack of a phone app. For someone who likes to research the theme parks before arriving, I find it extremely frustrating to study Lagoon's park map. Unlike most other maps, Lagoon uses an obscure cartoon-like park map that essentially looks like a large rectangle with a bunch of small icons. Guests can often get confused by the layout, the different pathways, and even the scale of the rides and attraction. And on top of that, the map doesn't tell you where all the food locations are, so be prepared to ask around for directions. And the lack of a park application also adds to the frustration. You won't be able to find wait times, use mobile ordering for food, or navigate yourself around the park. I'm really hoping this will be fixed soon as more and more parks are becoming more tech savvy. So here are my final thoughts. Lagoon is such an amazing park, and it's one of the best places I've visited this year. They do a lot of things right, and with some minor changes, it could potentially become one of the best theme parks in the nation. With an addition of their new coaster next year, Lagoon is a place that all enthusiasts should attempt to visit. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and if it helped you plan your next visit to Lagoon, make sure you hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this one. So until then, peace out.